The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. You know, we are in 9 cities now, and we are in all different time zones. So sometimes I forget what time zone I'm in, but we want to welcome everybody. This is our California show, and we are with you every Tuesday. And I got to tell you, we really did well for California. We've got some of the greatest experts. But one that is true to my heart because I understand what he's doing. I want to introduce you to one of the finest weight loss MDs, doctors. Though he's out of Los Angeles and he's got an office in Phoenix, a clinic there, he will eventually take over the whole United States, and he deserves it. Let me introduce you to Dr. Gupta.
You're really kind, Steve.
Yes.
Thank you.
The name of your clinic, which I love, Mindful Weight Loss. I love that name. And Dr. Gupta, I got to tell you, I got a letter, which I'm going to be sending you.
It's awesome.
This evening, because we're also going to be doing a show together tomorrow morning. I got one of the most beautiful letters from a listener who is saving up. I guess she talked to your people. She is going to secure your services, but she has been trying to lose weight forever. And she said, I've heard everything in the book. There's something about, this is what she said, there's something about my Dr. Gupta that he knows what he's talking about. And I thought it was so beautiful because Dr. Gupta, I don't know if people know this, but weight loss is not just a medical problem. It goes way beyond that. Yes. And we're going to be teaching you here that you've got to take care of this problem because, like in my case, it's cost me some severity to my health from being overweight. And we want to we're so glad that we have you. Tell people about your practice.
Yeah, so it's Mindful Weight Loss, right? We're located physically right on Redondo Beach, but an office in Las Vegas, office in Phoenix, and we can see patients in a lot of places. What we do is I describe what we do as a combination of evidence-based medicine, but as you said, that's actually the least part of it because it's all weight is connected to everything in our lives, right? So I like using this red button analogy, right? So basically all of this food around us is all this ultra processed stuff, those McDonald's fries, those Doritos Cool Ranch chips, right? They're these dopamine hits, right? So I like using this analogy of the red button. So every time you press the red button, you get a little bit of the dopamine hit, right? So the issue is we've created a world where we're surrounded by these red buttons, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we deal with that? So number one, we practice not having as many of these red buttons around us. We have some healthy blue buttons, but we also work on decreasing our suffering. So we're less incentivized to press the red button in the first place, right? And so we really start from that. And the only way to do that really is to start with self-compassion, right? We're not the clinic that you come and we tell you you've done 1,000 things wrong, right? we're the clinic that like we really get to know you and figure out how we can optimize, right? I always tell my patients, it's not like you're doing anything wrong. It's just that this absolutely sucks, right? This sucks and
Yes.
it's hard for a reason.
And, you know, we look at like we've done something wrong.
Yes.
And there's so much to this. What Dr. Gupta didn't tell you is he's also an internal medicine doctor. And he took his practice, and it seems like most of your practice now is in weight loss.
Yeah. So I still work in the hospitals and stuff, but like this is the majority of what I do. And it's a passion of mine. So I've struggled with weight at many times throughout my life. I've talked to you, Steve, about this. And it's interesting that you actually have a relationship with this company too. But in high school, I used to sneak hydroxycut, to try to get inspiration of wanting to lose weight, right? Just like, and all these people saying like, oh, do this, do this, do this, do this. So I felt it in multiple times in my life, right? And so like, I attended, the Obesity Medicine Association. I attended this conference several years ago, and I just absolutely fell in love with this field because going through your training and all that, weight, there's so much like nihilism around it, right? It's like a patient struggles with weight, you can't do anything about it. Let's treat the diabetes, the hypertension, the resulting stroke, the heart attack, all that, right? But now I like came across like a methodology and a way to kind of think of it where you can actually help people know, let's actually treat the underlying cause and prevent decades of your blood sugar, your glucose molecules being high and injuring all the little blood vessels in your body, right? Let's prevent the blood pressure from being high and again, injuring those vessels that'll cause that stroke or that kidney failure or that ulcer in your legs, which will lead to an amputation or whatever, right? So I describe it as the most gratifying thing I've ever done, changing people's, like preventing decades of disease.
I think what is amazing is you see a lot of people that have tried for years and years and years to lose weight, and maybe they might have had a temporary success.
Yeah.
And then they always seem to gain the weight back plus some.
Yes.
Why does that happen?
It's because our bodies weren't really designed to lose weight, right? Our bodies, evolved again for hundreds of thousands of years, again, when there weren't 14 McDonald's from here to anywhere else, right? So the ones who really made it through were the ones who can who can go into the world, get energy, store it in our bodies as fat, and hold on to that forever, right? It's only 70 years ago where we created this industrial food machine whose goal every single second of the day is try to put food in us, right? There's trillions of dollars spent. How can we put this food in humans, right? It just in all of us. And it overwhelms all of these evolutionary mechanisms, right, that have existed for hundreds of thousands of years. So this is why it's hard, because when we lose weight, what the most depressing thing about it is our metabolism decreases. So you have to eat like 300, 400 calories less than if you never even gained weight just to maintain, right? And so like you lose weight and you eat like one cookie or something, right? Or like just a little bit and you start gaining weight and it becomes so hard, right? Of course, it's not so extreme in that what we practice is like sustainability, right? And figuring out ways to make it work, but we're just stacked up against a system that makes that incredibly hard.
Dr. Gupta, I love the fact that you've got so many tools in your arsenal. You have so many different ways, and everybody's body is different. So when you go into your supplement store and they tell you, like in my case, hydroxycut, it's the same thing for everybody.
Yeah.
When not everybody's body is the same.
Totally. 100%. Right. And it's just, that spreads more than supplements, right? It's just like everything you hear. It's like everyone do keto or everyone do this or this or this. Right. And just what we do is we spend an hour getting to know you, right? At the very beginning. So it's like, I think too often people go into a place and they like talk for a minute and then they tell them everything they need to change about their lives, right? Instead, what we do is actually get to know you in granular detail. Like, what do you eat? Like, obviously, like, what do you eat? What do you eat when you get up? When you're like going to work, like, what's there at work? Are you eating when you order food at lunch? Are you ordering with your coworkers? Who's the one who orders the meal? Right? When you come home, who's the one who's cooking? Who's the one when you're chilling on the couch after like dinner? Who's the one who instigates going to get the bag of chips or something? Right? Because all of those things are important. Right?
Well,
And
you really get down to it, don't you?
yeah,
You
and
really
because
get down to
the nitty gritty, yeah.
yeah, because it's like you're a doctor. The first thing you do is a history and physical. This is your history and physical
Yes,
for weight loss.
100%. Yeah. So it's like taking all of those principles of how we practice medicine, which is not practiced by a lot of medicine, unfortunately, but using that in this world, right? Like truly getting all the data and figuring out everything. And the important thing is there is no healthy, right? There's not like some perfect way, right? All we got to do is what works for you, right? We don't have to do everything. We just have to do enough, right? And that's, I think, such a difficult way because we're all conditioned that we should all be something different. We're all doing it wrong. We should be this or this. Even when we do something, we're not doing it good enough, right? And it's like we have to, what we practice is that's why I say it always starts with that self-compassion, right? We got to understand all of the causes and conditions in our life. And only from there will the interventions be clear about the best way to get this done.
So when a potential patient hires you, I don't know if that's the right word, but what's the first that they come into your office? Do they Zoom in? How does it work?
So just, like during the pandemic, we've moved a lot of medicine onto Zoom, but it's really just our patient's choice. We leave it up to our patient. You come in, every appointment is available either in person or in the office, right? And so in our office, we do have a really good body composition machine. So we can get more granular in measuring, like body fat percentage and muscle, right? So we can really track those metrics much more precisely. But, Zoom is also really good. Like you can talk to way more people, right? I can help more people all over in the country because of that. So it's really up to the patient's choice. But yeah, again, we get to really know people and then we follow them on a continual basis. So there's either me or my nurse practitioner, but there's additional 2 health coach appointments, one-on-one. Also, we're creating this slate of classes, right? Everything from, really adding the infrastructure, the connective tissue in our program to help with all the issues, right? Because of loneliness or because of, just like time or anything, right? We want to create we're going to start where we have a meetup. So patients can meet up in this one location, do a walk. Right? Or like we want to spread that to lunch, or we want to start a book club, right? So it's not only just like we'll have the things where we'll have like resistance training and meal prepping and all that stuff too, but we want to really fill out this community element because that's so important, right? That's part of what I said, the decreasing of our suffering to let's incentivize ourselves to continue to, press the red button, basically.
Well, one of the things we haven't discussed yet, which I think is so amazing, is you are taking on a pediatrician.
Yeah.
And
so,
I think that is because it's such a different world. These kids nowadays, there's no exercising anymore. It's noshing all day and there's no movement anymore. I mean, kids don't go out and play anymore.
Yeah, it's very different.
That's a whole different animal, isn't it? Getting a child to lose weight. Plus, they've got peer pressure for a kid who's overweight and bullying.
Yeah. All right. So I struggle with weight. So this is like near and dear to my heart because I was that kid, right? So we're gonna start. I'm really excited about this. We're gonna start our pediatrics program. Ages 12 and above. It is different, obviously, they're kids, but there's a lot of same principles, right? In that, we have to see, often I think with kids, things are done to kids, right? I'm going to take away the chips from their thing, right? No, instead, we all seek, to be well and healthy, right? And often what happens is that, people are like, oh, you can't do this, you can't, and then people feel defensive, right? They're like, you're taking away my autonomy. Right? You're taking away and that applies doubly to kids as well, especially in that age group when you're like a teenager, you want that, that's what you're craving. So it's not like we're gonna come into your like environment, change everything, deal with everything, right? The same principles. Figure out what's actually going on in their life, right? What's going on at school, right? With the peer pressure element you said is so important. Like what's going on? Like if we did something, how's that going to affect, like your relationship with your kids? And maybe that's not what we optimize, right? Maybe, and that's fine. We find something else that we focus on, right? And then also trust me, I was there. It's not like someone had to tell me to lose weight and I never thought of that, right? It's like I wanted to lose weight. I desperately wanted to lose weight, right? So it's like kids want to lose weight, so you just like say, oh, in what way? How can we get this done in your life, right? Like instead of even again, we have to optimize 150 calories. So instead of just regular Lay's, baked Lay's, right? Something like that, and just a bunch of different areas of people's lives that actually make it possible, right? And same thing, not having some of that stuff in the house and having different things instead, and working with the parents, right? Because we don't want parents to feel attacked too, because they're feeling oh, I'm doing something wrong. I have 4 daughters. It's hard. It's hard. Kids are hard, right? They're telling you
How
something.
old are your daughters?
They're 1, 4, 7, and 9. Right? It takes me a while to remember. It's just so many of them. But it's it's not we're not here to make anyone feel bad. This is all
right.
This is hard, right? And if you're working and the easiest thing is that McDonald's and you bring it home, I should start using different restaurants. I feel bad. I've been picking on McDonald's all the time. But Wendy's or something, and you can bring it home. And that's the easiest, because the world makes that the easiest option. Right? That's the problem. It's not like us. It's just the world makes it. And clearly, if 70% of us struggle with this, we have millions and tens of millions of kids struggle. It's not a personal thing, right? It's a societal thing. But to deal with it, we have to understand that.
Here's what I would think is one of the toughest parts about what you do. So I'm here in Florida. This is hurricane season now.
Sure.
And there's so many times where they're telling us a hurricane's coming. We go out and we get prepared, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
So I look at it, weight loss. I would think that by the time adults came to you, they have tried everything.
Oh my gosh.
Which means they failed at everything.
Yeah.
And so when you get them, how do you change that mindset?
I think it's because so much of it is this willpower narrative, right? So many people have tried things, and all the messaging people get is it didn't work because of you, right? Or it's your fault it didn't work, right? And instead, what we say, so number one is, I think it's really important to understand, it's we don't change everything, right? It's I think too many programs are change everything about your life and you lose weight, right?
So you do baby steps, I take it.
100%, right? And I think you said it in previous show, what did you say? Less bad habits, or better,
make better bad choices.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so
the
true.
First time they come out of your office, do they have a diet schedule? Do they have a workout schedule?
So I don't actually.
What happens after that first meeting?
It's a good question, and I don't like the word diet, right? And I don't like.
Good.
Yeah. And I don't really love plans or schedules like that, because what we do is we really hear people and think of ways, right, to make small optimizations, right? One of the classic ones is someone's eating a lot of DoorDash, right? They make it even easier now. You just go on your phone, press a button, right? So we say, okay, instead of that, let's instead order Instacart once a week and get more pre-made salads, right? So no more effort. No more effort.
Yeah.
That's key. It's not any more effort. It's just redirection of the same amount of effort, right? And so constantly thinking of little things like that to work smarter, not harder, is how we approach this, right? So it's not about, oh, you have to eat this many carbs and this many macros and this many things, right? It's more about, let's look at your life and where are the areas we can move it a little bit, right, to get this done.
I went to, I think, one of the finest schools in the country in my younger days. This is called the Cooper Clinic. And they would teach that the scale is your enemy, especially with women every day, sometimes weighing themselves 3 and 4 times a day.
Yeah.
You can't do that because you're going to weigh different every time. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, so in terms of weight, right? Weight isn't the whole story, right? Like, what's more important that we actually measure in our clinic and whatever is body fat percentage, right? That being said, we use weight, right? Because we want metrics to make sure what we're doing is working, right? People are coming to us for that, right? So we want to make sure it's working. So my view on that is do what is productive, right? So for some people, it is daily, right? Some people, I've had patients who weigh daily, they adjust it, but some people that's not productive. It's every week, right? Or every 2 weeks, or, just having, I do just because we're working with them and, obviously what our goal is to work together to try to get some weight loss. And we want to make sure what we're doing is, working. Otherwise we want to adjust something if it's not. So we want to get some metrics, just outcome measures. But again, we all have a lot of different emotional opinions on the scale, which are totally fair and understandable, right? Given all the trauma that we had from this. So really, we just work with patients. And again, just like with everything, right? There's not one size fits all. It's more about, what works for you in terms of even that.
We're here talking to Dr. Gupta. Though he's in Los Angeles, he's got a clinic in Arizona, and I guess Atlanta. You're going to be opening up clinics across the country. I love what you're doing, and it makes our show so much better. For those who are listening on radio right now, Dr. Gupta, give them your phone number and maybe a little incentive.
Yeah, of course. So you can always contact us. So part of, as we scale up and everything, it's really important to maintain excellent customer service and try to really think hard about how to do that. So there's one number, 310-220-4543. Again, 310-220-4543. Just text that number and we man that number throughout the day. We're very responsive. The website is mindfulweightloss.com. Again, mindfulweightloss.com. And because Steve is so awesome, really love coming on the shows, we're doing a discount. So it's $100 per month for the first 3 months. So definitely,
that's great.
Yeah. So use the word experts, right? And just, we're really excited about this promotion we can offer.
And Dr. Gupta will be back with us again this month in the next 2 weeks. We're going to be on tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to go to www.w4cy.com, we'll be on there too. And Dr. Gupta, I love you, bro.
Thank you, Steve. You're awesome, man.
I'll see you tomorrow morning.
I'll see you tomorrow morning. Love early rising, so it's good.
It's Dr. Gupta. We're going to go to commercial. And we have got, I am telling you, one of the greatest companies when it comes to tax resolution. We've been associated with them for probably, it's been about 8 years. I'm telling you, these people are the finest. You can trust them, which is a big word because you always hear these stories about these tax resolution companies. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we will introduce you. This is his first time doing Los Angeles. Barry Fowler, Taxation Solutions. We will be right back.
K. Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm dedicated to the representation of community associations throughout Florida. On kbrlegal.com, you can learn more about their offices in Pompano Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Orlando, Tampa, as well as throughout Miami-Dade by appointment. Several K. Bender Rembaum attorneys are board-certified specialists in condominium and plan development law and assist clients with all matters of community association legal issues while keeping them up to date on new developments that affect their associations. K. Bender Rembaum is also a well-known provider of free legal education for managers and board members. Contact K. Bender Rembaum today by calling 800-974-8255 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680 to reach any of their locations. You can also visit them online at kbrlegal.com or write to them at info@kbrlegal.com.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. We have, this is a powerful show coming up. If you have a tax problem, if you have a family member who's got a tax problem, don't allow them to deal with the IRS, especially when there are companies like Taxation Solutions. You're going to get an earful today, and maybe it might, hopefully, maybe scare you to do something about it. Stop putting those envelopes from the IRS in the drawer. I want to introduce you to Barry Fowler. He's the president and founder of Taxation Solutions. He's licensed to represent taxpayers before the Internal Revenue Service, and he's got a long-standing member of several tax industry professional organizations. He has got so much experience. I promise you today, you are going to learn so much. Let me introduce you to my friend, Barry Fowler.
Hey, Steve, how are you? Doing this out in California is fun.
We're doing California today
for us, but hey, we help people all across America, and that's what we enjoy doing.
Barry's office is out of Houston, but he covers the entire United States. And Barry, you know what? Since this is our brand new California market, introduce yourself. Tell people about Barry Fowler and Taxation Solutions.
Taxation Solutions, we founded this many, many years ago. It's been close to now 15 years. And we've been fighting the IRS since the day that we started this company. We get in front of the IRS, step in your shoes, so you don't have to deal with them. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to do anything but give us the information that we need to be able to go back and fight the IRS. And that's what our purpose is. And that's what we enjoy doing. You always ask me, hey, how long have I been doing this? I've been doing taxes since I've been knee-high to a grasshopper. I started out helping my father when he was at one of those, old-time tax preparation businesses, paper and pencil. I hate to date myself like that, but gosh, I've been doing it long enough. Now we get to use these nice computers and things that we never envisioned, back when we started doing this. But fighting the IRS has been a privilege to help our clients, become debt-free from the IRS and get out from underneath the constraints of what the IRS is doing. And that's what we enjoy to do. But, I can't help anybody unless they call me. And I've got a nationwide toll-free number, so it's good here in California. If you got friends or family anywhere else in the country, I am licensed, as well as my staff is licensed to fight the IRS every step of the way, no matter where you live. I even have clients that are out in Hawaii.
Yes, I remember that.
I have clients that have been overseas for years and need somebody to help fight the IRS. Well, that's what we do. But you got to pick up the phone or give this number to people. It's 877-996-6477. It's really simple. It's 877-996-6477. The call is free. The conversation with us to find out what we can do for you is free. So we offer that free consultation. But you got to make sure you're telling us everything, talking to us, and let us find a way to help you out. What's the best solution?
We hear the phrase enrolled agent. What's an enrolled agent, Barry?
Enrolled agent kind of scares people because they think we work for the IRS. No, we actually work against the IRS. It's probably one of the oldest professions out there. It started way back in the early 1900s when they started, taxes and stuff. But it's licensed by the U.S. Department of Treasury to represent you as a taxpayer against the IRS, the Department of Treasury, you name it, this is what we get to go in and fight. We had to take extensive tests about taxes so we know the ins and outs of everything in the tax law. We've got to continue to take continuing education. They require roughly somewhere around 20, 25 hours of continuing education. I do 30 to 40 to make sure that I am the smartest man at fighting your taxes and fighting your tax problem for you. I also require it of everyone that is my staff that is licensed to have as many continuing education hours as I'm going to get, so that we can work together as a team for you and solve your problem the best way possible, whether it's an offer in compromise, whether it's an installment agreement or a partial pay installment agreement or non-collectible, or even better yet, just proving that the IRS is just doggone wrong and getting rid of the debt completely just by solving the problem and showing them that they were wrong to begin with and get out of your life.
There are a lot of scams out there. We've all read about them. I guess, and I'm not saying this is a scam, but we read all the time. I had a client that owed $500,000 and we got him off for $50. Are those scams?
Well, Steve-O, it's one of these things.
You had some pretty good luck.
It's yes and no depending on the company. There are companies that'll just represent anything out there. But I say no because we do get people off on $100 sometimes. Sometimes it's 3,000 on 300,000. Sometimes it ends up being 50,000 on maybe 100,000. Everybody's situation is different. Just because we get somebody $100 settlement on 15,000 or even 100,000, or we take somebody and remove more than $1 million of penalties, which we've done. It doesn't mean you're going to qualify for it. It just means that they qualify for it. But everybody's different ins and outs to get there and what you can qualify for. So when you do call us, my guys and the consultants that are going to talk to you are going to ask you, how much money you owe. And they're going to ask you basically all the questions about your personal assets. How much money you got in the bank? What's your house worth? What kind of equity do you have in your house? IRAs, 401ks, any other assets you have. And we want to get honest answers from you, because without the honest answers, I can't tell you that, hey, you can get an offer in compromise, and nobody can. But if you've got $100,000 equity in your house and you only owe $50,000 to the IRS is going to expect payment. You have the ability to pay in the IRS's eyes, even if you're upside down in your life. Now, I might be able to get you into a non-collectible status and not have to pay anything until your situation turns around. Or I might be able to get you into a partial pay installment agreement. But all those situations, each one differs based on your life situation. And then based on what the standards are for the IRS, which we get to fight and help you find ways to fit everything into their little bucket that they think is your perfect life. It doesn't make them right, but they have these things called national standards. And because you live in this city, in this state, you should only pay so much for your house or for your apartment. They're going to peg you into this little hole, even though your family may be bigger than that hole and your expenses may be bigger than that hole because you've dug yourself into a huge hole. And so we've got to figure out how to fight that and get you the best solution possible. And that's what we do on a daily basis.
Barry, tell people, just as well as I do, there's people right now that are getting letters in the mail from the IRS, and they think by not opening up the envelope, it's going to go away. I know you get a lot of this. And explain to people why that is so bad and what could happen to them.
Well, I I do a lot of work for truckers all across the nation as well, and sorry about that. And so a lot of the truckers don't get home to open up their mail. I do with other self-employed people and everything else. They're afraid of the mail. They're afraid it's going to open. Something's going to jump out and bite them. Yeah, it's going to be a tax bill, but it is a tax bill. You need to read those letters. I mean, some of them are somewhat harmless in the fact that it says, hey, you may be getting more of a refund, or they changed your refund. So you need to look at it and figure out what happened. But then they become the real harsh ones where you've ignored letters for a number of years, maybe 6 months. It could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is down the road. And now they're going to file a substitute for return because you didn't file a return, or you've ignored them long enough and they've already said, hey, you owe $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million, whatever it is. And now we're going to really harsh collections. We're coming after you. It could be a final notice of intent to levy. That means they're coming after your bank account in the next 45, 60 days. They are going to levy your bank account. Don't think they don't know where it's at. They know. They're the biggest, largest, baddest collection agency in the world. They're fixing to hire 85,000 people, anything about what they're going to do. And some of them are going to carry guns. Okay, hey, we keep you away from that. But when those letters come, you need somebody that's going to get in front of it and stop it. Let's be proactive with it. Let's not be reactive. Proactive is, hey, figuring out a way that, hey, maybe we have to put in a temporary installment agreement in place for you to fend off the IRS. Maybe I can get them on a 180-day wait out here so we can figure out where you need to go and what you need to do and what the best solution is, or maybe how to revamp finances to be able to lower that for you as well. Or maybe it's just file the returns and get it down to the right amount you owe, not what they think you owe.
Right.
Big difference. Funny part, Steve, when we talk about substitute for returns, and I know we've talked about it before, but not here. When the IRS does substitute for return, you think they do it in the best interest of you and I, the taxpayer?
No.
They don't care. They're not looking at live situation. You may have a 1099 for, let's say, $200,000. Well, all of a sudden, you've got business expenses. They don't care. They show that as all gross net income. And they're going to tax you 15.3% on that first $130-some thousand for self-employment tax. Then they're going to continue to add Medicare tax. Then they're going to add the federal tax. So now all of a sudden, you went from maybe you would owe 5 or 10,000 to owing 50 or 60, and then they add the penalties on that, and now we're at 70 or 80 or even interest 100. Who knows what it is. But that's why we've got to be proactive in dealing with what we're going to do with the IRS and not reactive. We don't need to react to what they're doing. We need to be in front of what they're doing and put that stop in place for you. And, then get the IRS to adjust those taxes and the penalties and the interest and get everything removed that we possibly can before we even get to that settlement stage.
I think what's really great about what you do, Barry, is when a person talks to the IRS, what I've learned from you is they try to act like they're your buddy, but they're not. And they are trying to get information out of you, which they're very good at. When you hire Barry takes that all away from you. They have to contact him now. And you're not put in a position. And I think that's probably one of the greatest things you do, besides get them off these big tax numbers.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you're dealing with somebody, they can be very friendly, they can be very nice and say, hey, I'm on your side, You got to remember who they're working for.
Yeah.
It's the IRS, and if you put that together, it's theirs, and that's what they think. Everything you have is theirs.
Right.
That's why it's the IRS. And it's a funny thing because I always get people to tell me, oh, I can deal with this myself. Okay, fine. Hey, by all means, go for it. And we will tell them, hey, point blank, watch out what they ask you, and ask yourself, what are they really looking for? At the end of the day, what they are looking for is money. Our nation's in debt, and the only thing that keeps the money coming into the IRS is the IRS. Because when we got to have money in the U.S. Treasury, they've got to step up collection activities. When they step up collection activities, more money comes in, no matter where they get it from. If they go to the extreme of taking your house because there's equity in the house, or shutting down your small business because there's money in your business, those are the things that just are the death knell. And, it puts a stop to your life. And not to mention that your wife, if you're dealing with this, is completely unhappy. There's nothing good going to happen in your marriage when you have this IRS debt riding over the top of you, especially if they take your house. Or, I always use the example, the IRS figures out what's the worst time to levy your bank account. And that's the day you got paid. So, hey, they know, hey, people get paid on the 1st or the 15th, or they get paid on a Friday. Guess what? They levy that account, and they ask you the question so they know when you're going to get paid. You may have even given them a copy of your paycheck, so now they definitely have dates that you're going to get paid. And then they're going to levy that account. Now, when they take everything out of your account, how do you pay your mortgage, your car payment, your rent, electric bill?
Right.
And Lord knows, with inflation and the cost of everything going up, there isn't a dime to spend, spare for them to take. If they hit you at the wrong time, man, you are in trouble, and there's no getting that money back.
Right.
We've been able to do it at times to help people get that money refunded, but man, it is expensive for you to get done. And the IRS isn't going to give it to you timely. I mean, just because I request today doesn't mean, hey, they're going to turn around and tell the bank tomorrow to give you that money back.
Right.
That revenue officer is going to take his time. They're going to try to delay the 21 days the bank holds that money as much as they possibly can, and make us jump through every single hoop to not give you the money back, if at all possible. We can be very successful at getting them back, but let's jump ahead of it. Call that number. Let's start now, 877-996-6477. And then we can be in front of the situation. But the only reason is you opened up the letters, right?
Yes. And if you're watching right now, we're scrolling Barry's number down at the bottom of the screen. And there it is.
Hey, what is this? This is like Blake Shelton in The Voice.
Yeah,
he's up here. No, that's right down here. There's our web address, and then our phone number down there, 877-996-6477. It's taxationsolutions.net. Hey, we
make
can do
sure
this
you
too.
put .net
This
in.
is right.
Barry, and Barry's going to be back with us again. I think next month we're going to start. I want to talk about business, because we got a lot of emails about business, about people not paying their federal income tax, and it can get really, really bad for you. But what Barry's here to do is to teach you, educate you, but also to get you to do something, because they're not going to let you sit around and not do anything, are they?
Oh no, we're on you every single week that we can possibly be. We give you deadlines because we've got deadlines to meet. We want to help you, so we've got to be proactive. We need you to be proactive. So there are things to do. And when we start talking about business problems, we're talking mostly about payroll tax problems. People that didn't pay their payroll taxes for their employees and for their business. And, it doesn't just affect the business owner. Sometimes it affects the business managers and the other people that are working there. So it becomes a complicated situation. But yes, the one thing I always say, Steve-O, and you and I have known this for years, if you don't call Taxation Solutions, call somebody, get in front of the problem, use somebody to help you, because people that are enrolled agents, like myself and like people on my staff, most of them are very versed in dealing with the IRS if they have got numerous years experience. There's a lot of people out there that are jumping into this industry that only have a month or two or a year's worth of experience. You want somebody that has the knowledge and the complete experience to deal with this. And that's why using somebody like, us here at Taxation Solutions, you don't get just me, but you get my whole team and the team that's behind me. And when I've got somebody working on your case, anybody that has a issue or a problem or come up to a roadblock, they come into my office. We sit down and talk about every single case, every single month, to make sure that, hey, each one is moving the right way to get the right solution, for you. And that's the benefit of coming to Taxation Solutions. We've got the team to be able to do this.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, people lose a lot of sleep over this. When you got the IRS after you, and what Barry's company is going to do is they're going to make you write it so you know what's going to happen tomorrow, and it can affect your whole life. And it's such a godsend to have a company like Barry's, because first of all, look at how long Barry's been in business. And I'm going to tell you something. I have seen companies come in and go out like there's no tomorrow. And you look at some of the things online, well, they never got back with me. I never heard they didn't do anything they said they were going to do. Barry's been around for a long time because he does what he says he's going to do. And that is so important.
Our delays are our clients, and we want to move everything through as fast as possible to get you the best solution. But again, it takes participation from you. And that's why, my staff is set up to where they do reminders and requests and try to come and get the information as fast as possible from you so that we can get moving on that solution. And that's what we really want to do. We want to help you. But again, if you don't want to choose a company or somebody that's standing in there between you and the IRS, pick up the phone and call the IRS. Set yourself up a payment plan. Put some kind of solution so you don't lose everything you have out there. It'll also help make your wife or husband happier that you've actually been proactive and did a solution. But if you call us, then you can go back to your husband and wife and say, or significant other, and say, hey, I've got Barry Fowler, enrolled agent, who is here, and he is going to
Barry, let's give everybody, all of our iHeart and Apple listeners right now, let's give them, because they can't see it on TV, let's give them your phone number once again.
All right. It is 877-996-6477. Again, that's 877-996-6477. Or you can just look us up on the web at taxationsolutions.net. Again, taxationsolutions.net. Hey, one of the best things to do is find us here on Talk4 TV, Ask the Experts. You can watch this. You can get the number. You can get the information. You can go watch it. It'll be on iHeart. Barry, thank you so much, bro. I love you. I will see you. Barry will be back with us here in California again next month, and we'll be doing our Houston show towards the end of the month. Thanks, Barry. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
God bless, bro. That was Barry Fowler, Taxation Solutions. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Thank you, Rebel. We will be back again next week, 2:00 Pacific Standard Time, with more Ask the Experts. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.